New Artist Spotlight Podcast.
Welcome everybody to another episode of the New Artist Spotlight Podcast. I am Wilko Wilkes, and I believe we're going to be joined by Origin Cross. I think he might be running a bit late, but if not, we'll find out soon. But never mind Origin. We've got someone even more exciting on the show. So he's big, he's bald, he's Ben. Welcome to the show, Bigbaldben. How are you doing, man?
Hey, thank you. Yeah, that's an adequate description. Love it.
Yeah, nice
Fantastic.
To meet you, nice to meet you. And it looks like Origin's just joining the line as well. You know what? I make it bang on 8 o'clock, so I think he is on time.
OG.
What's going on? Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. How you doing?
Doing good. It's been a minute since I was on one, so excited, guys. How you doing?
Man. Yeah, I'm good. And I've just done the intro, so sounds like we're live.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm late, I guess.
No, it's probably my fault. So Bigbaldben, whilst Origin gets himself sorted, I'll give you a chance to introduce yourself. So tell us in your own words what you're all about. I'm a fan of your music, by the way. I think it's class. I'm very diverse as well. It's the sort of music I wish I could make.
Oh my gosh, thanks. No, that's great. So my name is Ben. Obviously, I've been making music, pretty much all my life here and there. Always been writing since I've probably been about 15, I think. And always kind of pursued music, but things never really worked out, So I'm from Pennsylvania in the United States. I was born and raised here. And then I spent a couple years in Nashville and I spent a couple years in Philadelphia after my Nashville experience, and decided to, when I was in Nashville, instead of pursuing the music industry at the time, to raise a family. So I got 2 sons. One is in college and one is in high school. So pretty much done there. Maybe not really, but so decided to see what I could make of some music with the tools that they've got nowadays and the internet and everything. So so I'm loving it. I joined NAS in I think March or February of this year, which was fantastic. I saw a Reddit post. Prophet of the End Times was like, "Hey, you guys want to get some plays and get some people to actually listen to your music? Hey, check out NAS." And so I did that, and just a great community, and just really pumped about it. I'm not sure I'd be as excited as I was about the music that I'm making now if I didn't have an audience and support like you guys from NAS. So
that's awesome, man. Yeah, that's great. It makes me think. I've not been that active recently, and I need to be a little bit more active because I feel like I've been off radar too much. But it seems like you've been there a lot longer than 6 months, man. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things, the Discord app and the ability to be in the chats. And so the NAS Top 20 show and the Thursday Pick show, just getting in there and chatting and listening to people's music, and then if you're lucky enough to have other people listening to you and comment on your music, just mind blowing. Because that's why I'm doing it at this point. I'm 50 years old. I don't think, I'm going to be having a collab with Taylor Swift anytime soon, So I'm doing it so I can find other people that like my music and dig it. And that's what I found, starting with the NAS. So getting in those chats though and getting to know the people has been fantastic.
Yeah, I noticed you've done quite a few collabs as well. So Taylor Swift might come calling soon, man.
I wouldn't say no.
You never count yourself out, right?
Right.
Especially when it comes to Taylor Swift. Who wouldn't want to meet her?
Yep. I would not say no.
So you said the way you got to NAS was through a Reddit post, right?
Yep.
So what were you what were you doing in that search, right? Were you looking for like more communities and things like that to reach out to, or were you did you just happen to come across it? What was the
Yeah, that was exactly what I was doing. I was trying to find communities and ways to get my music heard. So about last year or maybe a year and a half ago, my youngest son has started playing guitar, and he was going back through all my old demos and stuff, and because he was interested in songwriting and really into it, was like, Dad, we got to do something together. So we did something together, I think September of last year, 2022, and just a demo level thing with some acoustic rock kind of stuff. But, he was so into it and kept me going. And I'm like, you know what? I want to pursue this again and start doing my own stuff once we were done with that project. So last year at this time, I was starting to write my own stuff and, starting to look into, hey, what can you do? Well, hey, you can collaborate with mixing folks and mastering folks and engineering folks and all these people. There's Sound Better, there's Fiverr, all these things that I'd never heard of. So I'm just getting to know this stuff and working with folks and to get my music to sound better, because that was always the thing with me, was like, how do I get it to sound, quality, instead of people being like, it sounds good from what I can make out of it because the recording sucks. But anyway, so, January, I got hooked up with a guy and we started doing some stuff. And then I just started working with different engineers, and I was like, this sounds good. This sounds the way I want it to sound, which was fantastic. So now how do I get people to hear it? So I was all over the place. I was on Reddit. I started up social media, which I never really used before, and just trying to link up with some folks. And so to your point, I was on Reddit in either a songwriting subreddit or independent artist or something. And somebody was, as we all do and have, was kind of lamenting, hey, I don't think anybody's listening. What's the point? And like I said, I saw that post and I was like, all right, I'm trying everything. So let's give this thing a shot. I read through the stuff and I was like, yeah, this sounds really cool. It was easy setup, and here we are. So I was specifically looking for something like NAS, and just pleased that I found it.
That's awesome, man. I think one thing I'm going to tell you that I want to see on the Bigbaldben Spotify within the next week is one playlist that has all the songs that are on, all your songs on them, so that you can listen to the full Bigbaldben collection in one, because I can see it going rapidly as well, man. So that's what I'm looking for, and that's what I want to see, so I can hit it on the car, listen to the whole collection.
Okay.
But how much time are you spending making music at the moment? Because it seems like you're being very prolific and sharing hits.
Well, I got to thank William Lovett, because, I saw him on the podcast and he was talking about, health issues and stuff. And I've got some health issues this year. I've got 2 bulging discs in my back. So I can't sit for really long periods of time. And sometimes it's weeks that I can't do anything. So in those times that I don't have that, that's when I'm making music. So I'm trying to work ahead as far as I can, so that while my health is up and good, that I can be ahead and kind of keep a consistent release effort, so people don't forget about me, or, whatever. I can build on whatever, small success that I had. So I spend as much time as I possibly can. So if I'll even, consider taking some leave off of work if I'm feeling particularly good, and just try to punch some stuff out. But on the other, and along with that, I've got probably, I don't know, right now I probably have about 7 songs that I'm working on that are legitimate, probably will finish up and release. And I always just keep that going. I've got 2 or 3 at the front that I'm always focusing on, and just a step or 2 away from cleaning up and sending to one of my engineers that I work with. And, so yeah, I spend as much time as I can. It's, I guess my hobbies used to be kind of, video games and American football and, that kind of stuff. And I don't play much video games this past year. I've spent a lot on the music, so a lot of my free time.
That's cool. So could you tell us a little bit, how did you find the producers that you work with, and what was that kind of developing those relationships like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So last year, the first person I got in touch with was Jeff Shepard, who was in London, but we have a mutual friend. So I was talking to a mutual friend. I was saying, hey, I want to get my songs to sound good. And he said, I know this engineer guy. Would you be interested in talking to him? So yeah, so I hooked up with him, and we actually did a version of the Antidote, which is on the album. It's called the A-Side Sound Mix. And we actually worked on that and collabed together. I wasn't sure what kind of style of music that I wanted to continue in. This rock stuff is my bread and butter, but I was like, hey, is it not modern enough? Is it, do I need to put some electronic stuff in it? So I worked with him on some stuff. And in the process of working with him, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely a rock guy. I feel more comfortable in that space. So after I was done with him, I got on Fiverr and tried to pick up a couple folks for some cheap money, and it wasn't a great experience. And then I ended up on Sound Better, and I found a guy named Martin Marenier. Hope I'm not butchering his name. He's been doing a fantastic job. Him and I just clicked, and so I worked with him on most of the songs on the album. And then we were getting towards the end. By that time, I was pretty involved in NAS, and I knew the players, and I knew Charles Connolly was probably somebody that I wanted to work with if I had a half decent song. So my son and I had written a song that had some acoustic parts, and I thought would be a good fit for him. So I ended up just DMing him and working with him on that one. And then Andres Guazelli for Dine with the Dead, I did the same thing. Halloween was coming up. I had this song that I'd written last December. Like, that'd make a good Halloween adjacent kind of song. And so I just DM'd him on NAS and worked with him on Dine with the Dead. So, the internet, I mean, it's just amazing. You guys are a little bit younger than me, so you probably are, you've had it all your life. But for me, watching it explode. And then, like I said, I was involved in music in the early 2000s. But even then, it was like you had to know people. You had to know studios. You had to know engineers personally, get introduced and be physically adjacent to them. And that was just difficult to do, especially in, Pennsylvania or somewhere like that. So yeah, that's what I did. I got online and I just searched the crap out of everything and, found some really, really great folks.
I'm glad that you think I'm young enough to, I've always had the internet. I'll take that.
Yeah, not? No?
No, well, on the
when
cusp.
You were 5.
On the
Okay. Fair.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. And you mentioned the antidote there, and we're going to give it a spin. But before that, I wanted to pick up on something else that you said as well, that you wrote a song with your son. That seems really cool, man, to be able to do that. So tell us a bit about that relationship and how does that feed into your music, etc.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. My oldest son is also, pretty musical. Both my kids play in the church praise team, and things that I'd never would have considered doing myself or even thought that they would be able to do. But my oldest was never interested really in writing. He's more interested in playing. My youngest son is interested in everything. And, he, like I said, he got interested in music, and he knew that I had done some stuff previously. And so he got on my hard drive and was like looking through stuff. And he's like, Dad, I want to write. And I put him off for months. I was like, yeah, it's a phase. He'll get over it or whatever. Cause I didn't have any confidence in what I was doing. And I really didn't want to corrupt him with any bad habits that I might have. So, but I finally, thought, yeah, this is a good way that I can connect with him probably. And he's not letting it go. So I said, all right, let's see what we can do. He wrote some stuff. I wrote some stuff. And then we sat down and wrote a couple things, together for our demo. And he was excited. And what was fascinating, he was 14 at the time. And he was pushing me hard. Like, he's like, Dad, haven't worked on anything in like a week. Let's go get it. And I'm like, okay. Or I get frustrated with a song. I'm like, this isn't working. He'd be like, yeah, come on, let's just push through it. And I'm like, man, this kid, whatever. But it's fantastic. And we really connected over, and it was great. So when I felt like I needed another song for the album, I was like, hey, let's do something. And he's like, yeah, let's sit down together and really just write something from beginning to end. And so I'm like, yeah, let's do that. And it was really cool because he is an amazing guitarist, and he brings his guitar influence into the stuff that's things that I would never do or never think of. And we worked through the song and recorded the vocals. It probably, or from the time that we wrote it to the time I got in touch with Charles, was probably like a week and a half. I mean, it was quick. And then I recorded the vocals and then sent it to Charles, and him and my son Logan and I, would get Charles's mixes and go back and forth, and he'd be like, "Oh man, this is great! It's working out great." So, and then we were done. He's so proud. I'm so proud of the song "Reticent" that was on the album, and so I can't really describe the experience to the full extent of how great it felt to work with him. It is really awesome.
That's class, man. Beautiful.
So, and I guess a little off topic, but like, you don't mind asking me, what do you do like as like a day job? Because like the way you like speak in just like this interview, right? It sounds like very much like you've had experience just like talking to people. And I don't know if that's just natural or if that is something that you like do every day.
It's something I do every day. I work for the government. I'll say that I work for the government, and I'm a manager, and so we have a lot of Zoom calls and we use Microsoft Teams, and I do a lot of project lead kind of stuff. So yeah, so a lot of that's learned. I think I've always had natural speaking ability, but my job definitely is a lot of this, especially since the pandemic, and even before that. Sometimes the projects that I am in charge of are like, we bring people in from all over the world to have these meetings and stuff. So it's been a little less of that lately. Thank goodness. I took a newer position that doesn't have quite as much of that, but yeah, I work for the federal government, and that's all I'm obliged to say at this point.
Understood. I don't want to die, so I won't ask you any more.
Me neither.
Also, don't ask who I work for, but it's not the government.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, actually, let's give the antidote a spin, because I've mentioned it already. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about the song before we get the old? Yeah. So, like I said, I worked with a guy named Jeff Shepard for the antidote, the A-side sound mix, which is the last track on the album, not this one, which is kind of odd because this song I had strings, I had pianos, I had all kinds of stuff in there. I was just going nuts with everything I could find to put in there, and wrote that. And then once I was done with that, I thought, I think this song would make probably a better rock song. And so I re-recorded everything, I think, except the vocals, and just stripped the song down to basics and put the guitar back in, and wrote a new riff. And I was really pumped with how it sounded. I don't think I really liked the song as much as I did until I had that go half speed in the chorus, and it slows down and it just kind of opens it up into this epic thing, which is always what I'm trying to do, is I like big changes in songs. So I think I don't know much about keys and stuff, but I'm told I have several key changes in this and tempo changes and all kinds of stuff. So it actually turned out to be one of my favorite songs. So I hope everybody likes it.
So would you like to give it the big intro?
Sure. This is The Antidote by Bigbaldben.
Understand the message, but you've seen it all.
letting us play that here. When I heard that, again, one of the first things that popped out to me was how good the audio was on that in the mix. So I'm really glad Wilko jumped in with some of those questions. So I know you also mentioned using sites like Fiverr and things like that when you were looking for some other like engineers and things. And I noticed on I believe it's your latest release, you had like a really cool like a cover art for that one. Do you use Fiverr or anything like that for those things, or do you do it yourself? What do you?
Yeah. So for my cover art, most of the singles that I've done on my own. I did find a guy on a cover art site for "Tired of Dying," the "Tired of Dying" single. But the new one that I just released yesterday, called "Party on Tuesday," which is a caricature of my face. That was a friend of mine from college. His name's John Gilbert. He goes by Zombie Beard on Instagram. And we've stayed in touch, and I just said, "Hey man, can you make like a caricature of my face?" And he was like, "Yeah, man, no problem." So he made the caricature, and I on Photoshop, I just slapped the background in and went there. For the other stuff, most of my stuff, including the album art, generated by the AI. So I use Midjourney, and I just go in there and try to get the prompts right and try to come up with some stuff that looks good, and then I'll throw it in Photoshop to add touches and make it not look ridiculous in some cases, especially if I have a hand that usually looks bad in AI. So yeah, so it's kind of a combination. I use artists, folks that I know, and then like I said, I use the AI and then clean up the stuff myself.
That's really cool. Follow-up question on the AI and Midjourney. I don't think we've touched on AI a lot on these podcasts. So I guess what's your experience been like using it? Would you recommend that as a tool for other artists to jump into? And yes, we're saying.
Hey. Podcast debut.
All right.
You on the internet. Yeah, and then is Midjourney, is that something that you can just kind of like use kind of like ChatGPT, or is it something that you have to like have like credits and stuff for, right? How does that platform kind of operate?
Midjourney has, it's got tiers. I think it's got a free tier, and then it's got a paid tier, and I think there's credit ones or whatever. I also use that Kyber AI. My collab with Dancing in Jerusalem, the song "Pesticide." I did the video on that with Kyber AI, and that was my first experience with that. My experience is it's limited. You've got to really work to get what you want, and so sometimes it's better to roll with what it's giving you. So if you've got a real specific plan, I'm working with another collab on a guy. I don't like to say who I'm working with until it's done. But I'm working on another collab. I know it's going to come out. It's going to be fantastic. But we've been working on the video, and we tried to lay it out like almost like a movie, like a scene by scene, and try to do that with AI. It did not work real well, and we did better with rolling with what it gave you. So I would say, if you're trying to do something specific, get an artist, do it yourself. If you're trying to get a vibe or something, I would recommend using the AI if you can. Yeah, very cool.
So one thing I was going to ask you about the photos on your Spotify profile as well is there's 3 photos on there, and in every single one of them you're covering your head. What's all this about? Oh, Bigbaldben.
Well, it's obvious, right? I mean, I don't need to sell that part, right? it's right on the billboard.
Head should be front and center, and you should have Ben written on it or something like that.
But I did that on my new release, right? I leaned into it on my new release with the caricature of me. I mean, my head. I'm even leaning down in it, so you could see it. I'm going head first, you might say, on that one. So.
Maybe you need to get that as one of your main Spotify picks.
Yeah, I've been thinking about putting it on there. I might do it.
Yeah, I'm just redesigning your profile over here. Yeah, no, classmate. I like the Bigbaldben as well because he's got that alliterative. It's like Wilko, Wilkes, and all the best artist names.
Yep. except Origin Cross. I mean,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
not alliterative, but they don't all have to be. It's still classic.
yeah, you have to. Sometimes you just have to be very creative to come up with things. Sometimes it's just that there for you. Sometimes you can just take your last name and add some syllables to it, or sometimes you take your first name and add some descriptive terms, or sometimes you have to come up with something that just really embodies who you are as an artist. So all different journeys for everybody. And I think that's what we promote here on this podcast, right?
Yes, he's absolutely correct. Yeah. Yeah, I could probably have been a little bit more imaginative with mine, actually, now you've said that. It's the first time I realised. But
just throw an X in there somewhere. Wilkes
works for me.
There you go.
That's the way. So let's talk a little bit about your influences, because I can see the posters behind you. I like a lot of those bands. I can hear those influences in your music as well. I like your backdrop, by the way. I think usually we have guitars on the wall. You seem to have one just scurried away in the corner there under the dartboard.
I got one, and I got about 7 over here that you can't see. Most of them are my sons, but yeah, you can barely see them. But
not bad. So yeah, who are your favorite bands of all time, and which band or artist or whatever do you think, if you had to pick one that's influenced your music the most or influenced your life the most?
I gotta say, so I was just starting college in 1991, and at the time, MTV radio, everything was Poison and Motley Crue. Hair metal bands were the thing, and then R&B, and that was it. And then Smells Like Teen Spirit came out. And I mean, I cannot exaggerate when I tell you it changed everything, including for me. I was like, Van Halen, these guys, these guitar virtuosos. I like playing guitar, but I do not love it enough that I'm going to ever be anywhere close to that. And I knew that. But you got Kurt Cobain out there just slamming 3 chords on a guitar and making these epic songs. And so I think Nirvana is probably the biggest influence on my life as far as music goes. I would have to say, just living through that experience and just the realization that it didn't have to be super polished and I didn't have to have hairspray or hair. It was fantastic. It was just an eye opener for me. But as far as musically now, I feel like Alice in Chains is probably one of my biggest influences. The close harmonies that they do on their vocals is just something that I've always been enamored with. There are only a couple other bands that have a really heavy music with kind of harmonious vocals over top of them. I think King's X is one and Galactic Cowboys is another. But Alice in Chains with those close harmonies that get really kind of spooky and weird just have had the biggest influence on me, I think, as far as what I'm putting out now.
And I'm kind of glad that Wilko didn't ask that as a quick fire question, because the response was so good. I wouldn't want to cut that short. So actually, really well done in that question. So I know you mentioned that you don't like to kind of say who you're working with until it's done, right? And you get that, right? Because things happen, right? But I mean, what can you tell us that we got? What's coming next? What do you have planned? What can we know without having to,
Yeah, really good question, that Origin, by the way. Well done. Absolutely amazing question.
Thank you. I'm just glad to get back in the seat.
So I got 2 collaborations that I know are going to work out. I just don't want to jinx it. But 2 collaborations right now. One of them is for an effort by a group called Only the Host that I hit on Twitter. I think via Quiz Boy from NAS, 1, 2, 3 steps away or something. I'm trying to get out there beyond NAS a little bit, to expand, and it's always fun. So they're doing a Nirvana cover project. And so I've got a song that I'm doing on that, and I'm collabing with an NAS drummer on that. So I'm hoping that that's going to be out maybe next month. And then I have a second one that I've been working on since June with a guy and this song is fantastic. It's one of my favorites. I really like it a lot. I think everybody's going to like it. We've been trying to get a cello player on it, and her schedule has been rough, and I'm not sure what we're going to do there, but it's been 6 months. So, but I think we're nearing the end of that too. So I'm hoping maybe January we'll have that. So got those 2 collabs coming out. I've got one song just came out yesterday, and another song that is on the verge. As soon as I get some time and I'm able to, I don't think it's going to take much longer to get that one done. So I'm probably aiming for a January release on that one as well. So I just try to keep moving and try to keep, my name out there for NAS folks, and I try to keep evolving my music, because I just can't tell you, and you guys know this probably, feedback about your songs, like true feedback, like, hey, your wife is going to be like, oh yeah, honey, that's great. Your kids are going to be like, okay, dad, whatever. Your friends are going to be like, I don't normally like that kind of music, but it sounds okay to me. So just having other artists listen to your music and say, hey man, I like this, I like that, I like, just it is unbelievable to me. And so I just want to continue to put stuff out and hear what people think and try to evolve. So that's what's up for me.
Yeah, keep going, man. It's good to see you. You've got the carrot in your mouth, and you're chasing a cow. I don't know. What's the end of that sentence? You've got the carrot in the mouth.
Wasn't sure where you're going. I'm just nodding.
I was lost a little bit too.
What I mean is, like, you've got momentum on your side. It's good to see. Right. Like, sometimes, as artists, we can go through creative dips, and I like you've got that attitude of, like, throw as much as you can energy into this as you can while you've got that energy, because you never know what's around the corner, and these songs will live forever. So it's good. Origin made reference to a little thing that we do on this show, and it's actually quite particularly dastardly.
No,
it's a very ominous, very, very, very heavy feeling event that seems to happen every time we do one of these shows.
Makes me feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
I always seem to not be able to put my finger on exactly what it is until it really actually is happening. Look, what is it?
Do you know what we're talking about, Ben?
I do. I'm scared, but I do.
It's the
Quick Fire 5.
Quick Fire 5. So
You said its name.
Do you know the rules?
If I say its name 3 times, it appears behind me. Is that what happens?
Well, try it and find out.
You have to be looking in the mirror.
Oh, okay. All right, good. I'm not mirrored. Yeah, I think I know the rules. I got to answer within 15 seconds or I go to hell. And worse, I am banned from NAS. Is that right?
I'm banned from this mortal realm for eternity.
Oh, holy crap. All right. That was bad enough.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what you can do. So,
okay.
So question 1 is, what is your favorite song from the New Artist Spotlight playlist that's been released this year?
I'm going to go with Black Salad by Kaminsky.
What do you think would define a successful music career for yourself?
For myself, I feel like I'm already a success. If I got folks listening to my music and liking it, that's fantastic. Anything from here on out is going to be fluff, to be quite honest.
Question 3. Who is your favorite of Henry VIII's wives?
Catherine Parr. She beat him. She outlived him. So she's my favorite.
Finally, a guy who knows his Henry VIII.
Question number 4. If you could have the singing voice of any other artist, dead or alive, who would it be?
Chris Cornell from Soundgarden.
Question 5. If you could spend a day with any other artist from New Artist Spotlight, who would you pick?
Oh my gosh. Just one. Present company excluded. I'm going to go with Billy Lowry. He's just so positive and just so much fun to talk to. So yeah, he'd be my choice. Is that under 15? Am I safe?
I think you've nailed it.
You did really well. One of the best I've ever seen, actually.
Yeah, that was really good. Man, I don't think you had to exclude present company in that last question though. But we won't dwell on it though.
Okay.
You know what? I really liked that. I thought that was, we've probably had 30 guests, maybe more, who have been squirming, going, "Oh, do I have to?"
I did my homework.
Origin because they're right here, or what do I do? So Ben was straight.
They usually pick Wilko. I'm gonna be honest.
Just look at that.
Way more people pick Wilko.
I've seen you picked. You've been picked before, Origin.
He has.
So usually, I mean, some people have good sense.
I can't remember who it was, but I think there was an episode I did where it was just me and them. You weren't there, Origin, and they picked you, and I was a bit like,
wow.
Yeah.
How could he do this to me?
Yeah. The agreement was I couldn't appear on that episode because I wanted them to say me. So they said, "Oh, I'll say you, but you can't be there because I don't really want to talk to you." And so that's what.
It's a good planning. Yeah.
That explains the unexplained $1 million payment that went through as well.
Hey.
No, that was for a feature.
So yeah, well done, Bigbaldben. You have managed to avoid an eternity in hell this time.
Well, based on this, anyway.
Yeah. For now. And have you got any final thoughts? Anything that you want to share with the world before we say goodbye?
Phew. Oh, that's a heavy one. No, I mean, I just want to thank everybody in NAS. I know this thing's been pumping for a couple of years now. Grateful to Ed for starting this and seeing the need. Grateful for all the moderators and everything they do there. Grateful for you guys. You guys help us to get to know the artists better. Mr. Odzo with his Thursday show, again, it really kind of drew me into NAS and helped me get to know some folks in the chat. And then, the Top 20 show with Daniel Tidwell. All you guys in NAS are just fantastic. And I am so grateful and so blessed to be part of it. Keep looking for my music. Just anybody who likes it, check me out on Bigbaldben Music on Instagram, Bigbaldben Music on Twitter. And you can reach me on email at Bigbaldben Music. I'm going to try to get into some videos. I have a YouTube channel as well. I think right now it's just got a lyric video, but I'm going to try to do some more stuff. So, I'll see you all out there. Keep listening and thanks for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a really good show, really good talk. So I want to thank you for coming and spending some time with us, letting us get to know you a little bit better, and actually dropping some gems, bringing up the AI and just different little things and aspects like that. So really cool conversation. It's been really good to have you on.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that, mate. So yeah, and thanks you for everybody listening as well. And you said it all, Ben. Everybody in the NAS community, let's keep doing what we're doing. But you never know. This is the message of the episode. You never know. You got to cram it all in, do as much as you can. But while you've got the energy, and take a rest when you need one.
I agree. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Out, everybody.
Out.
Peace out.
New artist spotlight.